welcome to Let's Play Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit, Episode 5. Alright, so, we are halfway through the tournament, and ultimately, it is now time for us to head to Country Woods, which is our 5th circuit on the schedule. And of course, before we do that, I want to check out the new cars I've unlocked. Because apparently, if you may remember the previous segment, we unlocked some new cars. So, the cars we now have available to us are ultimately the Italdesign Nazca C2, the Ferrari 550 Maranello, and also the Lamborghini Diablo SV. And as for the car I'm going to use for the first one, well, I'm going to do each of these in order, so I think I'm going to use the Italdesign. And as for the colour, well, yeah, fuck it, let's drive this thing in blue since I've not done that yet. So, selected my car for race number 5. Let's now head over to the further information about this track.
Buckle up. This remains a high-speed course, moving away from rolling farmlands to more challenging country roads and backwoods driving. Heads up! A high-speed jump will send you rocketing into a deep corner in this area. Take it easy on the gas and watch your line. This series of 180-degree turns will keep you sharp. Attack them at high speed with strong cornering technique. They vary in width, depth, and arc. 5 sudden right-angle turns can be tackled without sacrificing speed if you've mastered power sliding.
So yeah, got some useful information there about Country Woods, and already decided on which car I'm using, and that is of course going to be the first Class B car I've unlocked. And so, let's now head over there to race number 5, which takes place in Country Woods, and ultimately, what was my lead coming into this? Wasn't it like 4 points or something ahead of Ice now, who now takes back the 2nd position as a result of Bullet finishing 6th. Well anyways, I now have 2 wins up to this point in the tournament, and I'm hopeful in saying I can make it.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, I forgot. I need to shift out of... I need to shift out of neutral manually. Anyways, already losing the lead to Ice, but again, it doesn't matter up to this point because I do have a 4-point lead. Because I do of course have a 4-point lead heading into this race, so as long as I can finish inside the top 3, I should be able to proceed to the next round, where I currently stand. And I just got that section completely wrong. And everyone is just honking at me at the moment. Go fuck yourselves. And up to this point, I basically just need to limit the damage as much as I can. Because fortunately, I did not have to win this race in order to maintain my points lead, but I still of course need to finish inside the top 3 if I am to proceed to the next round of the tournament. because that, I think, is the main objective. So basically what this is as well, it's a different alternative to Hometown, more or less. As in, like, it's similar in certain areas, but at the same time it's completely different. So, Ice up to this point is extending his interval ahead of the rest of us, as of which it is another super long circuit we're driving on here. And at the moment, things are not going very well. But at least I can say I'm holding on to second position at the bare minimum. So yeah, some of these parts here are similar to Hometown, but obviously I think this is meant to be Hometown in winter in some cases.
Lap 2.
And apparently this thing is a 6-speed. So Ice at the moment has pretty much separated himself from the rest of us, it looks like, at the present time. That could have gone much worse had I not lifted off the throttle. That could have easily gone a lot worse than it did. Had I not kept my cool through that particular section. I already have 2 wins on my resume, and it looks as though Ice could very well get 2 wins to his resume as well. And whilst he may close in on me for the championship, it does not look like at the moment he is going to officially take the lead away from me as it currently stands, because I did of course have a 4-point lead heading into this race, and oddly enough these AI tend to change their cars dependent on classes about as much as I do, and I think these cars are meant to be Class B as far as I know. You know, the Italdesign, the 550, and also the 550 and the fucking Diablo. As of which, I've noticed this game has 2 Ferraris and 2 Lamborghinis. Oh, excuse you. Was that really necessary? Well, in the AI's case it probably was, but to me personally I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, I thought for sure when I first looked at this thing it was a BMW, but apparently it's an Italdesign, as it claims to be officially, and it looks as though Ice up to this point has more or less run away with this race up to this point. So unless he has a wreck somewhere, I don't think it's going to be possible for me to catch up to him. About as pessimistic as that might sound.
Lap 3.
About as, you know, pessimistic as that might sound. I basically just need to keep my consistency going. Just proves, of course, that I don't need to win every race in order to win the tournament. I just need to be more consistent than my rivals, more or less. And Swerve has still not fucked off from me. He is still trying his fucking hardest to make me wreck, but I disallow it. Wrecking me is forbidden. And oddly enough, it is actually interesting to know that I'm actually driving on this course in the snow. I mean, I know it's not winter yet, but obviously I think because these AI keep tripping over one another about as much as I do, ultimately, at the moment, I can safely say that I'm very much secure to be holding on to the lead. Also, furthermore, I should probably mention, I actually don't mind the up close shots on the tachometer, or the rev limiter, as many other people would call it. But overall, I actually don't mind the close-up shots on the tachometer. And at the moment, I am locked in a fight. And there's a fight between Jordan and Swerve. The temperature's overflowing. And pretty much power sliding my way through the hairpin there. Apparent as it might be. And braking hard, of course, for this sharp right-hander. That did not go the way I was wanting it to. Got a very bad exit there out of that right-hander, but fortunately, I can say that I've now put myself back into the fight. I've pretty much rubbed off the remains of that mistake that I made previously, and up to this point I think ice is probably long gone by now.
It's the final lap!
Anyways, final lap. Well, closed in very slightly, but I still don't think it's going to be possible for me to find 11.7 seconds to close down on ice unless he has a wreck. And up to this point, he's more or less been looking flawless all race long, so I think it seems unlikely to see him having a wreck up to this point. I mean, at first I thought for sure this thing looks like a BMW, and oddly enough in some cases it is quite similar to a BMW, but I've officially realised it's not a BMW, in spite of how many similarities it might have. But at least I can say I'm keeping myself in contention. And ice is all the way up there, so I think the race win by now is probably not going to happen, but as long as I can hold on to second, I'll be happy to just maintain my points lead. Because that is exactly what I'm currently maintaining. As long as I can keep my consistency going and still keep winning races every so often, or at least in every other round, then hopefully that should give me the championship. Or at least if I manage to sustain 3 wins. And at the moment I am not in the position to succeeding, but again, I'm back up to 3rd, just need to find a way to get back up to 2nd place, and then that should at least minimise the damage that I've already had to obtain up to this point for the majority of this race. Don't think it really affects me too much, but obviously this could not have been as egregious. But again, this race was not as egregious as it could have been. I mean, even though I'm not going to win the race, at the very least I can say consistency is managing to keep me going strong,
You placed 2nd.
And ultimately I finished 2nd by 8.7 seconds, more or less. So ice pretty much dominated that race, but
Congratulations! You've got a top 10 time for this track.
But overall, consistency is the key to winning championships. And oddly enough, that is exactly what I have. I have consistency. And so, once again, the 6th best lap time overall around this circuit. as which overall 11 minutes and 13 seconds it took me to set 4 laps around the circuit, and these are the other stats here. My top speed being 192 miles an hour, and apparently it's the Italdesign that also holds the best lap time of this 4-lap race around the circuit. But I think as far as I know, that does keep me in the lead as far as I know. So, Ice won the race by under 9 seconds. I finished in second, then it was Swerve in third, in the second of the 2 Lamborghinis. Terra finished fourth, ahead of Bullet, who was in the first of the Ferrari 550s. Then it was Tad in sixth, followed by Blazin, and Carcass has still not managed to break his 8th placed jinx. I mean, if you can just look at it, it does kind of resemble a BMW in some cases. If you have a look at that front end, it really does. I mean, I know that's probably just me, but I'm pretty sure that is more or less an exempling resemblance of what that more or less looks like.
3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, that was when I forgot I had to shift up into neutral, sorry, shift up into first gear from neutral. But again, this is going to be another one of those races where I'm going to be recording part of the lap, but not technically recording the full lap, because, well, the full lap is probably too long. And I think the main reason why I set the 6th best overall lap time was simply because overall I was racing in the snow. And as far as I know, I don't think music in this game is copyrighted, but oddly enough it must be said. This game does have a pretty good soundtrack, to say the least. Even then, of course, if it's only the in-game soundtrack for each of these races. I think I'll go a little further into this and see what else there is. But at the moment, yeah, okay. I think that should do it for the thumbnail shots. So anyways, that was Country Woods, and in terms of the updated point standings, I now hold a 3-point cushion over Ice. Bullet now looks like he's more or less dropped out of contention as a result of his inconsistency. Swerve is still 4th, ahead of Terra. Blazin is still 6th, ahead of Tad, and Carcass is still at the back, not able to break his 8th placed jinx. And as for the next circuit we are going to, that is going to be Lost Canyons. And so, with that, stay tuned for more of the original Hot Pursuit.